You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork,
Muted.
earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. Disney.
Well, hello everyone and welcome in. My name is Rick Farron and I am coming to you from the apostate capital of the world, right up here in Boston, Massachusetts. And boy, is it so nice. Is it so nice to see so many people coming in, lots of people leaving the Watchtower, lots of people are beginning to really understand what's going on behind the curtains. Well, we appreciate your presence tonight. I'm just going to mute some people here that are not muted. Let me just do that. And later on, we could call in. I'm sorry, Susan?
No sound on the radio.
No sound on the radio.
On the telephone.
On the telephone. Okay. I'm not sure what happened there. My engineer here says there's no sound on the telephone. I'm not sure why. Why did that telephone go out? Well, let's see. Let me just double check a couple of things here. And let me just get back to you in a second here. Stay with me. When you're doing a live program, there's always something that can pop up and create some issues. But let me see why. We'll get right back on here. I think we can do this right now.
Unmuted.
Okay, I believe we're live right now. I think Susan, just come tell me if we're back on. Susan's my wife. She listens in on the other room on our radio network to make sure that all the connections are right. Well, thank you, Susan. I do believe.
We're all hooked up.
All right, believe we're going out. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, friends, when you're doing something live, you're always going to have some snafus, but let's get back to the beginning. My name is Rick Farron, and we're glad, as I was saying, that you're with us. We have been doing this now for 20 years. Well, it'll be 20 years in January. So we're almost 20 years, right? I think you could say 20 years. It's that close. But, I really found this fascinating. We've never really missed. I'm not bragging here, but I'm telling you the truth. We never missed a Saturday night in 20 years. The Six Screens is here because you are here. There's people that really rely on the show, well, not because of Rick Farron, but they rely on people like Anne Marie, people like Jesse and Gilbert that will be coming on later, and Dick and Constance and all the different programs we have here. And, they rely on you guys speaking up. When you speak up and you call into the Six Screens, it makes a big, huge difference. We had a woman come in just on our last program, on Anne-Marie's program. Her name was Nicole. She called in for the very first time. Do you realize the courage that takes to do that? There's many listening in right now, and I know you don't want to speak up, and you have extenuating reasons not to, and I can understand that. But, when someone can speak up here on the Six Screens, call in, participate in the program, it is a wonderful thing. It speaks volumes. It really helps people to leave one of the most dangerous and destructive cults in the world. That, of course, is the Watchtower. Well, I'm just thinking, also when you call in, you have a chance to say the secret word. Yeah. Now, what we do here, do you remember the old Groucho Marx show back in the 1950s and early 60s? Remember Groucho Marx? Well, he had a duck. Well, we got a duck too. We got a little rubber ducky here. There's the duck, all right? Now, what Groucho Marx did in his program, and we're kind of copying it because I liked it. I can remember it as a kid. And if the contestants, during the course of the interview with Groucho, if they said the secret word, now he had the words in an envelope, very much like I have here when I put the envelope. Well, here's the envelope. I have some secret words right in that envelope there tonight. And those words are sealed. And if you say the secret word when you're calling in tonight, it has to do with Watchtower. If you say the secret word when you're calling in tonight, you will win a prize. And these prizes are getting better and better and better. Some of the prizes we've been giving away here is we have got the Millions Now Living book. We want to thank Jim Hill out in Washington State, the Millions Now Living book. We have a number of publications. We have this one. Look at this one here, right here. All right, look at that. Captives of a Concept. Do you know this book has brought many people out of the so-called truth, including Susan, my wife? But we have many books, Watchtower publications, as well as cult written books about the Watchtower. You can also win gift certificates to Starbucks, McDonald's, and we also have magnets, t-shirts, hats. We'll talk all about that later on. So at the end of the program, excuse me, at the end of the program, if nobody guesses the secret word, we always have we play the Jeopardy music, and you can participate and win some prizes. So stay with us to the end of the program. Another thing I wanted to mention, I won't belabor it, but it is the 2025 Still Alive in 2025 convention. The tickets are starting to go out. Maybe you got yours already. If not, you'll have it the next week or so. We have about 237 people, somewhere in there, that have signed up to come to the convention. We're having the first of its kind. What a momentous moment it will be in the life of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. You will be able to shake hands, meet and greet, and talk to fellow people who have been touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower. It's going to be a live convention. We are going to have people come in from all over the world. It will be a 3-day convention. And be looking on the Six Screens website. Next week, by the end of the week, all the information will be up there. We're going to really start pushing this forward. We're now getting speakers to come. We're signing some up. We'll talk more about that next Saturday night and let you know who's coming, who's speaking. We're trying to get some pretty big, high-profile speakers up here in the ex-witness world. We're working on it, and so far, so good. So I'll reveal those people the next week or so. Now, also, I wanted to tell you that if you plan on coming, get your tickets. We only have room for 500 people. So get your tickets. They're all numbered. So first come, first serve. If you come, even if we have over 500 people, you might have to kind of poke your head in the doorway or peek through the window or something. But I want you to get a seat. So be one of the first. Write me at I'll give you this address. Write me at jwworldnews@gmail.com. All right, I'm glad I got that out of the way. Can you come? I hope you can come to the convention. It'll be like one big, giant therapy session. Really, you will really feel. I'll tell you what, when you leave the convention, our convention coming up in 2025, you are going to be hitting your head on the doorpost on the way out. There's no question about it. You're going to be that excited. You're going to be 10 feet tall. Okay, well, anyway, did you see the convention? I'm not going to get into politics. People have said, Rick, you don't get into politics. I know it's a touchy issue. I'm not going to touch it. But I have to bring this up because there was kind of a little bit of a Jehovah's Witness twist. Did you see it? The convention, I'm talking about the Democratic National Convention this week. Well, if you were watching on the 21st, I believe that was the first night. I believe that was on Monday. But John Legend, did you see him? Well, he actually sang a song. It was a Prince song that he sang, and he is getting so much backlash. It was, I mean, seriously, the listeners, I've been seeing this online all week. He's getting so much backlash for such a terrible job of doing that song that Prince sang. And, well, let me read you. I'm reading this right off of the internet here. John Legend became the subject of a massive backlash after his disappointing showcase at the Democratic National Convention on Wednesday night, August 21st. So it was Wednesday night. It says the Grammy winner took the stage to perform a rendition of rock and roll icon Prince. And the song that he sang was Let's Go Crazy. Well, maybe you were watching it and maybe you picked up on it, belting out notes from the legendary 1980s song, along with Sheila E. She was singing there with him. And they kind of brought this music on, this big hurrah about the Prince song. And they brought it right on right before Minnesota Governor Tim Walz addressed the voters at the United Center. So that's what I'm reading here. It's right offline, but I got thinking. I mean, my audience is very smart. I do know that. My audience, I know everyone out there. I know I'm preaching to the choir at times. I know that everyone out there knows that Prince was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Absolutely. And I'm just thinking that, he was a big rock star. He was one of the biggest. I mean, he was right up there, not quite as popular as Michael Jackson or the Beatles, but I'll tell you, I'd put him probably in the top 10 of all time rock stars. And in his later career, he did become one of Jehovah's Witnesses. That's a fact. That is a known fact. He actually went door to door. But when I'm thinking now, one of his songs being played at the DNC, I mean, someone's got to control his music albums, right? And allowing that to be played there. Jehovah's Witnesses don't vote. Now, I'm not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill here, but I mean, I'm telling you, this doesn't resonate well, I wouldn't think, in the witness world. But I mean, maybe Jehovah's Witnesses weren't watching in the first place. But I'm just thinking, as that song was playing and as Prince was coming to people's minds, and of course, even Prince, many people, even outside the witness world, they knew that Prince was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. So I'm just thinking that what would Jehovah think? What would the God of the universe, Jehovah, what would he think about Prince? Well, I'll bet Prince won't, he might not get resurrected because of that. His music album holders who hold his music albums and give rights to people for using it. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how it works in Jehovah's Witness land. But, I'll tell you what, these big rock stars, I'm not going to get into it. We're not going to make a big subject here about famous Jehovah's Witnesses. We're not going to get into that tonight. But I just wanted to bring it up because it kind of, it's very current. It just happened this week. And maybe you missed it, but I caught it. I caught it, and I saw that, hey, something's a little goofy here. Well, anyways, that's enough about that. Unless someone wants to say something, I don't know what you would want to say, but if someone wants to say something about that, you're certainly welcome to speak up. If not, we'll move to another subject. Anyone out there want to talk? Did that bother you? Did you connect with that at all? I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. All right, let it go. Let's go to Kingdom Hall empty seats. You like that? You like that subject? I like it. I love. Did someone want to say something? Go ahead. You run with us.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Farron.
Yes.
Yeah, I've listened to the program here with interest and everything like that, and it's going to be to the point where these politicians, they don't have any respect for God and everything like that. They're straying away further and further from God and everything like that, and they're simply making a mockery out of God. And the Roman Church writings or Christianity teaches God is not to be mocked. And so I don't, as far as I can see, the politicians, Democratic Party and others, even the Republican Party, in other words, they don't even know what a religious belief is and so forth. So that's why I always stress the point and all that. We got to go back and we got to stand up for our First Amendment rights and make America God's country again.
Well, I do like your little saying there, Ken. Yeah, I do like that. It would be good because, when you take godliness out. Now, I don't want to offend anybody out there listening to the program tonight, but I'm a Christian man and I love God, but I'm not pushing it on you. You can believe whatever you want. I'm not going to try to jump down your throat like a Jehovah's Witness. But the world, I feel, my own feeling, my own opinion, I feel that not only America, but the world would be a lot better place if people really followed the advice and guidance of the Bible. Ken, I appreciate your comments, really.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We'll keep listening.
Rick, can I comment on that?
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah. I tried to look at the convention. I saw it. I just about looked at everything. That night that Legend sang, he hit it out of the park. He hit it out of the park, and whoever she was with him, they hit it out of the park. The whole convention, everything was hit out of the park. The speeches, everything. You need to see that. But as far as the witnesses are concerned, and a Prince song being sung, I don't think the witnesses care. Prince is dead. Prince is unalive. And so I don't think the witnesses even care about his song being used. In fact, they would expect it to be used, but I don't think they care about it.
Well, the thing is now, Prince died, and
Right.
it's been rumored. I can't tell you for a fact because I don't know, but it has been rumored that Watchtower was given some of the rights to his library. Did you ever hear that, Zach?
Not aware of that. I know for certainty Prince was Jehovah's Witness. I know friends who, he visits their hall. They call him Brother Nelson, But I think that if most witnesses, it will not shock them at all that his song was used. They won't even take notice of it.
Oh, I do agree. I'm not going to, in fact, that'd be a knucklehead to say that they'd pick up on that. But the name of there's a publishing company. It's called Primary Wave. Now, I tried to do some research on it. I couldn't find who owns or runs the company. But when Prince died, and I'm going to say it was a rumor, so I can't tell you. I mean, don't take it to the bank and cash it. But I'm going to say that when Prince died, it was at least suggested that where Prince was a baptized, in good standing Watchtower Jehovah's Witness person, that he left quite a bit of money to the Watchtower. And he was a multimillionaire. He was a very rich man, obviously. And why?
He was a talented man.
He was very, very talented. I'm not going to pick on Prince. I mean, I think he was fine. I think that Purple Rain song and a lot of his music was very, very good. Very, very talented man. But what I did hear is, and we all can at least believe it to some degree, that being a Jehovah's Witness, when you die, that's very, especially a rich Jehovah's Witness, it's very common and customary to leave a chunk of change to your religion. In this case, I'm not going to say for sure because I don't know, but I did get people calling into the 6 screens. One in particular that said that part of Prince's album collection or the rights to his music was given to the Watchtower, but I can't confirm that. The Watchtower has over 200 corporation names, but I'm just thinking out loud, and I know it's not going to move the needle for Jehovah's Witnesses to leave the truth because a Prince song was sung. I know it's not. Yeah.
They won't even be aware. They might not even put 2 and 2 together.
That's what I'm thinking. But the reason why I brought it up, in JW World News, I try to touch everything that comes across the internet. And what I look at here, sometimes I have a hard time deciphering, well, what would really be one of the top stories? So I kind of had to put that up there tonight because it is. Right. It's all over the internet. And Jehovah's Witnesses and Prince song. And I thought, just like you did, Zach, well, that's not going to affect a witness. It's not going to do anything to a witness. But I picked up on it, and maybe some others have as well. But Jack, thank you. I'm with you tonight. I'm with you. Now, I have to disagree with one thing, though. He's getting that John Legend singing, not good. You look it up on the internet. Google it in.
You mentioned him as a Grammy winner. Let me point this out. When they announced him, they called him an EGOT. That's a person who has won all 4 of those major awards: an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. So he's one of the big names in the world. If you're an EGOT, you're a big name. You know what I mean? Now, he was not just only a Grammy winner. He's got a lot of talent.
I'm not gonna tell you John Legend is a bad talented person. He's very talented. He's very, very talented, but he's getting really bad reviews on singing that song. I mean, I didn't see it. I saw him singing. I didn't see it as that bad, but geez, the reviews.
I know he moved those people. Yeah. And you got to look at where you're looking, what your sources are that you're seeing the comments from. Sometimes that makes a big difference.
Well, it does. You can't believe everything. You can't believe everything. But boy, I'll tell you, hey, wouldn't it be, it's so difficult, Zach. I know you experience this being the celebrity that you are. I know you always get people talking to you or making suggestions in a negative way. You got to be able to take the heat And you know that, Zach, when you're a celebrity, people are going to say all kinds of things
Yeah.
about you, right? Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Zach.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello. Yes, go ahead. Now, Mike, I know it's you now. Go careful. Go very careful. Go
No,
tip.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, Rick, that I'm thinking, Prince is dead, but we could assume that he wouldn't have wanted his music to be played there. My understanding, they were really promoting abortions. They had I don't know how many abortions were given, but they were giving them out free in a mobile van. And then that Tim Walz, the governor.
Oh, wait.
No, maybe Zach could explain, why do you put tampons in a fourth grade boy's bathroom? I can't wrap my head around that.
Well,
Let me respond by saying this. Some things I don't give the dignity of a response.
Yeah, well, we're gonna let that one go. It's
No,
very,
it's true.
no. Listen, I know it's I know it's true. I'm not gonna, but I've been chastised, Mike. I really have.
Whoa. That idiot, he said that I don't deserve the dignity. It doesn't deserve a response. He's the one that supports that crap, and then he's saying I don't have any dignity.
No, let's, okay.
I want to know why.
All right. Well, we're not going. We can't take it. I'm not going to get into political discussion. This is all about Jehovah's Witnesses. I can't get into this. People don't like it. I'm not going. This is not a political program. We all have different opinions, Mike. We all have the right to have our thoughts, and I hope that I hope at least that that never changes. But there's a platform to do that on. This is not the platform to do it. It's not really. So I don't want to do it because we get in trouble when we do it. All right. So let's look around here. Let's see what else is going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower, as we say. And I have to tell you, friends, I told Anne-Marie, we got a lot of people coming in here. But what I'm noticing is, and I'm so glad to see it, all of these empty seats at Kingdom Halls. Now, I'm going to show you Kingdom Hall here. I'm going to put it up on screen. That is a Kingdom Hall. Now, you take a look at the people. This is not unusual. This is something that is happening pretty much across the country and across the world. Now, look at that. That's a good-sized Kingdom Hall. I can count 1, 2. There's about 14, 15 people there. That's it. And that's not an unusual meeting. That is something that is a normal meeting, midweek meeting. And look at that. But this is happening all over. This made my old apostate heart happy. When I see that, and it should make your old apostate heart happy too, when you see all of these empty seats. Now maybe the witnesses can say that, well, just like Christ's presence, it's an invisible audience. Maybe they're going to come up with all kinds of excuses. They might even say that, well, maybe it's an invisible audience. And, well, I have to say that many of these Kingdom Halls, including this one that you're looking at, it's going to be on the chopping block. It looks like they're going to be selling it off. There's no question about it. I mean, some of these Kingdom Halls, I've been reading online here as well as discussing it on our program. We have Kingdom Halls that are being turned into Muslim mosques, Christian churches, a funeral home, marijuana dispensaries. I call them Kingdom Hall dispensaries. We have all kinds of, we have doctor's office, dentist's office. We have all kinds of, I mean, if I see a Kingdom Hall turn into an abortion clinic, that's when I'm going to raise the roof. I would hope that doesn't happen. But anyways, we see these empty seats. Now I'm just going to come down a little bit. That's just at the Kingdom Hall level. I don't know what's happening at your Kingdom Hall. I would imagine you're also seeing a lot of empty seats, but let's just talk about the conventions. The conventions also are having all kinds of empty seats. I'm just gonna, we have PJ. PJ calls into the program a lot. He lives out in California. Now today he went to the Long Beach Convention of Jehovah's Witnesses out in California. Now, Long Beach, California, has always been a large venue, a large convention for the Jehovah's Witnesses. Always has been. It's not always going to be, though. I can tell you that right now. Now, PJ, he was nice enough. Let me get out of this picture. Now, BJ was nice enough to send me a picture, but also I got another picture that I got, and I appreciate the people who give me these pictures. So I got a picture also of yesterday's. That would have been Fridays. First of all, I'm going to show you Fridays. Now, Friday, is kind of a day. Some of the witnesses can't come because they work Saturday. So they come, they work Friday, but they can come Saturday and Sunday. So Friday always isn't the best day. But let me show you what the Long Beach Convention out in California looked like on Friday. There's a picture right here. See if I can't get this up for you. Okay. There it is. Okay, there it is. That's the Long Beach, California Convention. Now, that doesn't look that full to me. I mean, unless I'm not looking through rose-colored glasses. I want to see as many empty seats as I can, but I'm looking at friends, I can't tell. It looks like, maybe one third of the seats are filled. Someone's sitting in them. That arena out there has always been packed. You talk to anybody that's gone to the Long Beach Convention in California, they will tell you that arena was packed. Look at that. That was Friday. So you say, well, Rick, it's Friday. The witnesses, many of them have to work. They can't come. So don't go using Friday as an example because, Friday's a bad day to use an example. Well, let me show you Saturday. I want to thank PJ for sending me a picture this morning. In fact, he was going to try to call in tonight. Maybe he still will. Maybe he's on the line with us tonight. But let's take a look. This is the convention. Well, let's see. Hold on one second. I'm going to hold on one second. I'm going to put the picture up on Saturday. That's today. He sent me this. This is the morning session. Take a look. Take a look right here. Hold on. Let's get that up there. Okay, take a look. Can you see that? There you go. Empty seats galore. That's Saturday. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but history kind of repeats itself. So we got Friday empty seats. We got Saturday empty seats. This is what's going on at the conventions, friends. It's unbelievable. It's so people have got to come to grips with this. Really, even the Watchtower, the officials, the governing body, the circuit overseers, the elders, do they see this? Are they just turning a deaf ear to this or putting blinders on? This is something else. This should really make everyone out there listening to this program, this should really make them really feel elated. It should be encouraging. Now, I know it's not encouraging to the witnesses, but it's encouraging to the apostates. Why? Because all of the work that all of you apostates are doing, all of you activists that are doing your YouTube videos, you're doing your podcast, you're doing your Facebook group posts, you're doing all of this. Thank you, because it's working. All of the activism is working, whether you like the people or not. John Cedars is doing an excellent job. I know he's controversial. He's doing excellent. Mike and Kim, excellent. Everyone, Wally out there, Wally's doing excellent. All of these different people are doing so good. We want to Vern from Canada. All of these new people are doing a wonderful job exposing the Watchtower. Keep it up, because it is working. So you can see the empty seats. Okay, let's take it out of here now. Did someone want to say something? Go ahead. You're on with us.
Well, Rick. Hey, Rick. Oh, good.
Okay, let's go with the first one, then we'll go to Jesse. Go ahead.
Hey, Rick, this is JP. I just got back from the convention right now.
Oh, you did, JP. Well, I just showed you a picture. Thank you for sending that. So why don't you tell us about the convention,
Okay.
JP?
Yeah, they were about today the attendance was 4,001. And so I feel pretty lucky for going because there was 4,000 and I guess I was that N1. So because I showed up today, I guess you could say they got over 4,000, but just by one. And I think there was about 25 people that got baptized. It was very boring. And I think with the absence of people, you get a different feeling, because I used to go there when there was around 11 or 12,000 people and you could feel the energy and the excitement, but it seemed like everybody seemed very tired. A lot of people were on their phones. It's funny, during the announcement that they had after the first song, the brother was saying for people, he was saying, well, as you can see, we have plenty of seats in the arena here. So we want to encourage the friends that when they arrive in the morning, that there's no need to rush or anything to your seats, that we have plenty of seating. As opposed to when I used to go, let's say maybe 6, 7, 10 years ago, they used to announce from the platform to not save seats and all that because there was too many people there. Because I remember getting there early and they would, tell us just to save seats for our immediate family, but I would have to put down books and watchtowers, and because if you didn't, you wouldn't be able to find a seat. And there's a lot of times it would get so packed that I wouldn't even be able to sit with my family sometimes. And now there's so much room, and it's just big difference. I tell you, it's probably about a third of the place. And then I was talking to an attendant, and he was saying that yesterday there was a 2,900. And he even told me, he even said, I don't know what's going on. He says, I've never seen this place so empty before. He says, I remember it used to be so packed you couldn't even find a seat here. And I agreed with him.
Well, JP, well, I'll tell you, 2,000 was it? How many was there? You say yesterday?
4,000. Yesterday was 2,900, so 2,900, and then today there was 4,001.
Yeah, and people have got to be noticing this, JP. I mean, you have been going there, and also I got another person that has suggested to me he goes there as well, and it is very well. I'll tell you, it's disappointing for the witnesses to see it, but in some respects, it's also disappointing for an apostate to see it. I mean, did you have a feeling of disappointment? How'd you feel about it, JP?
Yeah, I felt almost bad for those people that they actually feel like they have to be there. I was just going there because I went to go visit one of my cousins who would happen to be there. And then I wanted to be sure to get some pictures and stuff for you. And I was kind of curious myself too, with all the changes that they've had in style. And then as opposed to when I went last year, it seemed like it was even worse than last year. The program, it seems like the demeanor of the people were just even lower, and the attendance, it was crazy. And I didn't see one Bible. The only Bible that was in there was the Bible that I brought. And I tell you, Rick, I pretty much had to basically smuggle that Bible into the convention, because if I would have been walking around there with a Bible, I don't know, like that might get you in trouble over there or something. Now, I don't know. You got to be careful with that, because nobody had a Bible at all. I didn't see one. And I was actually trying to look for a Bible, and I didn't see one. Even when I was sitting, I was looking all around, and nobody had a Bible. Everybody was on a device. And I think even half the people that were on their device, it didn't even look like they're on, JW.org following along in their Bible or anything. They were just scrolling, looking at other stuff.
Well, JP, I tell you, that is remarkable. Now, I'm just thinking. I'm just trying to put some things together in my head. I'm trying to get into your head a little bit. Now, you walked into the assembly arena. You saw all the people. Now, I know you can read body language. I mean, you didn't fall off a turnip truck last night. I mean, if you've been a Jehovah's Witness and an apostate, you can read body language. But what I'm thinking here, what I'm just trying to put together and come to grips with, were the people, would you say they were enthusiastic? Were they smiling? Were they happy? Were they the happiest people on the planet, or what?
The only people that I really seen smiling were like the attendants when you were walking in and greeting you. And the only reason why I didn't get stopped this year was because I happened to have a badge or a name badge, because last year I didn't have one, and I didn't want to go through all that stress and all that like I did last year. I already knew what they were going to do, but I did see a few people that did try to walk in, and anybody that didn't have any kind of a Watchtower affiliation, on their knit lapel or their name badge or anything, they got stopped immediately.
So I just was able to get in there pretty good. But the only ones that seem to be kind of in a good mood was like just the attendants, you know, when you're walking in, they were just telling you good morning and smiling. But other than that, it was really kind of somber. Even at lunchtime in the courtyard and all that, it used to be really loud, people talking, because there would be, well, first there'd be so many people there, it would be loud, but it'd be so loud you can barely hear. You'd have to talk real loud. And now I went out there and it was just real quiet, and you could just kind of hear, you know, like babies crying or just other little chit chat. So I could see that the low enthusiasm, and I couldn't stay longer because I really didn't want to, but I heard later today, I think that governing body helper Luciano, I think his name, I guess he's the guest speaker from Bethel. So I don't even know if the governing body members go out anymore. When I've seen Mark Sanderson, David Splain, and I've actually talked to Stephen Lett there at Long Beach throughout the years, but the last few times I've gone to the convention, they usually will send like a helper or something. So I don't even know if they actually even leave their compound anymore to actually go out, which maybe for them that is maybe a good thing, or, you know, could be a bad thing. But I think they're kind of paranoid too to go out in public, because there's a lot of crazy people out there now, you know, and they have, you know, really caused so much damage and separated so many families and stuff. I don't put it past somebody for them to be paranoid of themselves.
Well, do you know how? I think it's about 13,000 people. The arena seats. I don't know if I have that true or not, but say 13,000 people, and you'll end up with, you know, for Friday, you know, under 3,000. That is something. I mean, that is something to really take note of. Because a month ago, I went to the convention up here in Lowell, Massachusetts. It was a regional convention, and the arena only held 6,500 people. But there was 2,300, I believe it was, on Sunday, which would be the biggest day. So if I run the numbers here and try to kind of see what stadium would be hurting the most, it would be out there in San Diego. I mean, the number, if you had 13,000 people that could seat there, and you only had, you know, 3,000 on Friday, that's remarkably low. That would be frightening. I mean, if I was running the event, I would be thinking something's wrong here. Wouldn't you think the official would think that, JP?
Yeah, definitely. And then another thing that I was thought was kind of interesting when I was talking to somebody there is that, you know, the season convention is already wrapping up. I'm not sure. I think they might have one more convention there in Long Beach. So they usually have them from June till, you know, the end of August, maybe the first weekend of September. So the convention season is already, you know, tapering down. So it makes me wonder, and somebody was saying too, that these ones, there might be people there that aren't usually assigned to that convention, because sometimes people will go to those ones if they need to make up a day or something. So there might just be people too, you know, that were there trying to, you know, make up a day. So if it were people just going from their own that were assigned there, it might have been even lower, because I think the last few weeks they've been, you know, fluctuating the attendance, but I don't really know if they can get past 4,000 or 5,000 these days. I know you were saying like last week the Spanish met there and they got like 5,000.
Yeah, in fact,
or something. I think you said last
right around that. I forget the number, but yeah, there's a lot of Spanish people. Of course, what they did there, and I have to understand that those Spanish people probably came from, you know, maybe 800 miles away. You know, they might have come from all over California. You know.
Yeah, they definitely don't have as many conventions as the English, and I know that they would have conventions there from the middle of June all the way till the first week of September in the prior years. And in the prior years, every weekend, Rick, every day there would be, like, I remember Friday there would be between maybe around like 8 or 9,000, and by Sunday there would be like 11, 12,000. Almost every seat in the house was packed except like the top, nosebleed sections, what they call them, But now it was just an abundance of room. But,
Well, I mean,
that was pretty much,
pictures speak
everything I saw today.
pictures speak 1,000 words, JP. And I mean, the pictures. I mean, thank you for doing that. That was awful nice of you. I really appreciate it, because what it does is, I can sit here and bloviate all night long. All the convention is empty. They can see it. You can see the pictures. I'll put the picture up again. If you missed the picture, this is the picture that was sent to me by JP. And you take a look, you tell me. I mean, you take a look at that. That is amazingly low amount of people. So, JP, thank you. Thank you very much for doing that for me and the people listening in. You're a good man, JP.
You're welcome.
Don't you ever change. You're a good man. Thank you. All right, that's JP. Yeah, go ahead. You're on with us.
Hello?
Rick?
Yeah, let's go with the woman first. Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh,
I
sure.
wanted to ask JP real quick before he signs off. If he could give a subject of any of the talks, or if they had any of those little films, and if you could share that with us, or if he could read something from the program.
I have a program, but it's not with me. It's in my bag in the other room. But they were showing part 2 of the Jesus film drama. They showed that, and then.
And I'm not familiar with that, so.
Yeah, they have the Good News According to Jesus. It's like this new. It's going to be like an 18-part drama that they're going to show over several years. It's a film that they're making. So they showed that, and then they gave like a symposium kind of based off of that section. So it was talking about the prophecies that were fulfilled about Jesus, about him being born of a virgin, being from Bethlehem, stuff like that. That was, and then after the symposium, then it was the baptism talk.
So they weren't giving any prophecies or any kind of, we're going to be studying this book or anything like that?
No, they were just going over just like some of the just like the old, like, known prophecies in the Old Testament, like how he'd come from Bethlehem and that he's a Nazarene. And
so it was really kind of just boring stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't any kind of like a type or anti-type stuff. Surprisingly, they were just mostly focusing on Jesus in this convention.
I'm wondering why that was.
I think because they're trying to promote this this film that they're coming out with. So that's the reason why they're getting more attention to Jesus for a change. But I don't think that's I don't think that's necessarily the direction that the religion is going to go ultimately. I just think that they're trying to promote this film. Oh yeah, the symposium was called Messianic Prophecy Fulfilled, and then just a 5-part symposium. One is preceded by a messenger, born to a virgin, born in Bethlehem, protected as a child, called a Nazarene, and arrived at the appointed time. Which that one they didn't really even mention like 1914 or anything like that, even though they were talking about Daniel a little bit. But it was more in regards to the this was going in regards to the weeks as when he was going to actually be born.
Yeah, in fact, JP, what it does, I mean, a lot of people online have been suggesting that it's very unusual for the Watchtower to do this, to talk about the baby Jesus and all of the all of the attention he got when he was a little baby. I mean, the Watchtower really never focused on that. They always said that it's more important, when a person dies than when he's born. But a lot of focus was on baby Jesus, from what I understand, and they're trying to take a turn here. I don't know where they're heading with it. I don't know if they're trying to become more mainstream or whether they've been getting a lot of flack from people reading the Bible, even the New World Translation, saying, hey, we're not paying enough attention to Jesus. So now they're putting together this whole movie, as you say, all about the life of Jesus. It's like the greatest man book in video. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to take them years to do. I mean, they introduced 2 episodes, and I believe there's 18, and at each convention they're going to play, I think, a couple more each convention. So, I mean, if there's 18, that's like it's going to take them 7 to 9 years to show it all.
Yeah, well, that's I've
that's
heard that too. It's too
well.
much. It's too much. JP, you're a good man. Don't you ever change. We appreciate you coming on here tonight, and thank you for keeping us in mind when you went to the convention. That was nice of you. Thank you.
Sure, Rick. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night.
Well, what do you have to say? Yeah, go ahead. You're on with us. Go ahead. Speak up. What do you have to say?
It's true. Just the numbers got Eric that he got on there. He said there were 25 baptized out of 4,000. That's way less than 1%. Way less than 1%. Which their number always used to be 2%. That's way less than 1%. It's way less than 0.5% out of 4,000. And then Samuel Hurd got on there, and he blurted out a number too on the August broadcasting. He said they had some kind of special international convention, and they had, I think it was 8,600. He said 8,600 in attendance, and it was 74 baptized. So that's below 1%. So they're not anywhere near the baptisms what they used to be. Not what we used to see, those long lines. Everything, those things are gone. Those things are gone. They're happy to get. They're fighting to get 1% now.
Well, thank you, Joey, for sharing those mathematical statistics with us. We appreciate it. Thank you. Let's go to Gilbert in Phoenix, Arizona. Gilbert, go ahead. You're on with us.
Hey, Rick. I didn't know this is great. Six Screens has a regular pioneer out there, trailblazing. Congratulations and kudos to JP. My whole thing is real simple. And I'll combine the 2 topics because as GG for GB, I'm the only one that could really combine the 2 topics as you were talking about. You mentioned how the Kingdom Hall and the conventions have empty seats. But it's interesting that before that, you were talking about Donald Trump and Robert Kennedy and how and in today's news, their stadiums are filled. Now, this is the takeaway that Jehovah's Witnesses need to understand. That what you have here is you have a leader of a movement, say on the politics side, and they're very energized and they really do believe in what they're talking about. They really do believe in the mission statement that they have. For example, Robert Kennedy has enumerated 3 things, and he has dedicated himself to accomplishing these 3 things before he died. Now, we fast forward to the Jehovah's Witness and we see a convention that should have about 12,000 people that only barely made 4. Why is that? Because the governing body is derelict of duty. They are not present. Now, this is why it's so important that you vote for me at ggforgb.com. If you want to vote for me in English, that's fine. Because a governing body member should be at every single convention. You have three conventions, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with 9 governing body members. You could hit 27 cities, but they won't, a day, 27 cities a day. But they won't do that because they don't believe in, it's clear, they don't believe in their own message. And just a real quick point is that when Martin Luther King gave that famous speech, I Had a Dream, right next to him, if you watch the whole video, Mahalia Jackson just sang How I Got Over, and she's sitting there listening to Martin Luther King, and she says, tell him about the dream.
And he transitions into his sermon that he would give in Tupelo, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama, Atlanta. He was on a speaking circuit, and he would give the same speech over and over again. This is why when we were younger, we would go to a convention and say, that speech that the circuit district overseer gave was amazing. Of course it was, because he had been working on it for 6 months. He had been giving the same speech week after week after week, and he had been tweaking it. And that's what they call a stump speech. So what I'm trying to say is that the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses has no passion and no belief in their message. They don't even go to the conventions like they should. But Donald Trump and Robert Kennedy do go to the conventions. They have a belief, whether you agree or disagree. And now you see the attendance numbers. Then it all makes sense. If you really believed in Jehovah and you really believed in Paradise Earth, you would be speaking from the mountaintops. I hope I added to the value of your show, Rick.
Well, I mean, this show wouldn't exist without you, GB. I mean, this is the reason why we're here, to listen to your informative comments. My goodness.
Yeah. My girlfriend does that all the time. Yeah.
You're a hot duck. You're a hot duck. Go ahead. We got 678. You're on with us, 678.
Hi. I just wanted to share a few thoughts from my most recent book, In the Name of Cult, The Climax of Narcissism and Insanity. It's available on Amazon for just 99 cents. But this is just a few pages about cult behaviors. A cult behaves in a very selfish manner. An example is guilt-tripping their members for taking care of themselves. Another example of their selfishness is demanding that you hand your whole life to the cult. Another example of their selfishness is that once you hand your life over to the cult, they are never satisfied and want more and more and more. Another example of their selfishness is how they use members to volunteer and tell members not to work jobs. A cult behaves in a deceptive manner. An example is by knocking on your door telling you that they are Christian when they are the number one antichrist people in the world. Another example of their deception is by telling you how good their cult is and not telling you the full reality up front. Another example of their deception is by telling you that if you leave the cult, you are destined for eternal death. Another example of their deception is by teaching members that the whole world is evil and that the people outside are bad. Another example is how a cult promises freedom, but really the exact opposite happens to members, and they can never leave the cult. A cult behaves in an extremely narcissistic manner. An example is by illegally monitoring their members. Another example is by minding your business and stealing your identity. Another example of their extreme narcissism is by crossing very critical boundaries. Another example of their narcissism is by putting members in dangerous positions by spreading all of their personal business. Another example is by using gaslighting and denying members reality, pressuring them to believe that they are not well mentally. Another example of their narcissism is by ruling the lives of their members and deciding everything for them. A cult behaves in a very irresponsible manner. There is rarely any accountability for their behavior. Most cults are registered entities with the government and have special privileges. An example of this is how old members who leave lose many rights and freedoms. The cult does not listen to genuine people and dismisses them all as being bad, even when that is not the case. Instead of finding ways to serve all people, cults often ignore thin minorities. A cult behaves in an arrogant manner. For example, the cult will often explain how they are the only ones on earth doing things right. Another example is how cults will put others down who do not have their same level of hatred, insanity, and narcissism. Another example of their arrogance is by following man and putting man before God, as with many books. Another example of their arrogance is how they have a desire for other humans to worship themselves through the deception that they are worshiping God. Another example is indoctrination.
I was gonna say no. That's fine. You got well. That's good. You get so many. Boy, I'll tell you what. You did your research. So I mean, you are calling the Watchtower cult just like I am, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking. Well, what's your name, sir? Can I get a name from you?
Oh, Emil?
Emil. Well, Emil, I'll tell you. Thank you for coming in here. And listen, I'd like to hear more what you have to say. We're gonna go on the news, but is it possible? I mean, you a former Jehovah's Witness?
Yes, I am, and I'm glad. I mean, the best decision I've ever made was to leave. I won't say everybody was bad who was there, but finding out what they were all about in the end, they're not good, they're not the good guys.
Well,
Not the good guys.
well, Emil, you and I should shake hands because I agree exactly to what you're saying. Listen, if you're around tomorrow, now you wrote a book. If you're around tomorrow at say 2 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, I would love to bring you on. I'll give you way more time to be able to talk a little bit about your book and your trek in the Watchtower. Emil, do you think you could do that?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, why don't you dial in tomorrow at 2 o'clock, say same telephone number, and I'd love to have you tell your story. We have Anne Marie, she does a program, Ex Jehovah's Witnesses, share their story of being in the Watchtower. Would love to hear your story, and I'll give you way more time. I want to hear more because you sound like a pretty intelligent guy, Emil. Thank you. All right.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, thank you, Emil. Thank you for coming on and being with us tonight. But we're going to hear from you tomorrow. Dial in. I'll do that, and we'll give you all the time in the world, and we'll get it up here, and people will really connect with what you're saying. Thank you, Emil. All right, you're on 6 screens, JW World News. We're talking about the empty seats at the Kingdom Hall. We're talking about the empty seats at the conventions. But, I'll tell you something that caught my attention when I was going through the news this week, and it really resonated with me because I lived in Tampa, Florida. I lived there for 10 years, right outside of Tampa. I lived in a place called Brandon, Florida. But what I wanted to bring up tonight is that was coming all across the internet this week. In Tampa, Florida, not this weekend, but next weekend, Labor Day weekend, they're going to have a special convention. That's what the Jehovah's Witnesses are calling it. It's going to be a special convention in Tampa, Florida. And what got my attention, not only because I live there, that's probably the convention if I was still one of Jehovah's Witnesses that I would go to, but what got my attention here is concerning the parking spaces. The Jehovah's Witnesses are taking full advantage, that is, the Watchtower is taking full advantage of the Jehovah's Witnesses when it comes to parking spaces. They've conned them. They scammed the Jehovah's Witnesses before. Now, just to give you an idea, at the Amalie, it's called Amalie Convention Center. Amalie is an oil. So that is the name of it's named after the oil company, Amalie. Remember Amalie? You don't see it too much, but it's still around today. So the Amalie Convention Center in Tampa, Florida. It has 4,000 parking spots. Now, they want to charge the witnesses, according to the information I got coming into the 6 screens. The Jehovah's Witness organization Watchtower wants to charge each Jehovah's Witness car $25 a day to park there. That would be $75 for the weekend. It's a 3-day convention. So the Jehovah's Witnesses are going to have to divvy up $25 a day, $75 for the weekend. Now, is that going to go over well? We have a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses that, they're just barely making it by, really, when you think about it. But some witnesses are saying that, that's kind of an improvement because before, some of the conventions we went to, there was no parking, so we'll pay the $25 a day. That's a lot of money, folks. That's a lot of money to pay for the weekend, especially for a family. I mean, you're a family, you got 3, 4 kids, you're taking time off to go to the convention. They're going to zap you for, $25 a day. But it's unreal, but so be it. So just to give you an idea, not only because I got this announcement, I got this kind of a directive that was written to people in the congregations nearby to respond to this directive. They're looking for convention volunteers. Now, this is probably what even got me more concerned than even the parking charges here. But they're looking for volunteers at the convention. Were you ever a volunteer at a convention? Many listening in probably were. I was too. I was an attendant, and many worked as attendants. Now they need 1,000 attendants for this convention in Tampa, Florida. And now what they're saying here, there's certain requirements that must be met. A brother must be in good standing, at least 20 years old, and not fallen short. Well, what did that mean? I guess it means in good standing and has been a good witness for all of his life. Now, what happened is they didn't get enough brothers to respond. Yeah, they didn't get enough brothers to come forward and say, look, I want to be part of it. I want to be an attendant. I volunteer at this convention. I work in parking. Let me work wherever I would like to or you want me to. But they don't have enough brothers. They're looking for 1,000 volunteers. They don't have them. So they're opening up now to sisters. This is what got me. They're now opening up attendants, being an attendant for Jehovah's Witness sister. Now, why would this kind of irk me? I mean, it should be irking you too. But why it's irking me is considering the unusual, the usual. It's considering the usual stance that sisters have been assigned to in the organization. Usually the sisters, they take up the cleaning roles, right? They do the cleaning of the kingdom halls, and they, kind of support the brothers and sisters, the brothers in service. They support the elders. But now it seems like the Watchtower is very, very desperate. They're now wanting sisters to become attendants at the convention in Tampa. Now, this is an international convention. People are coming in from all over the world to come to the convention. There's only a few of them. I think only 2 in the United States this year. But Tampa, Florida is one of them. It's really insulting. It's insulting that just a month ago here, friends, on the 6 screens, I read you a letter. Now, I'll read you the letter again concerning what is going on in congregations concerning sisters. I couldn't believe it, but the sisters, let me read this to you. This is in some of the reminders. Remember, we used to give you reminders, announcements and reminders. This would be for July. Now, I'll just read this to you verbatim, right off of this directive that I have. Excuse me. It says here, helping young brothers to make spiritual progress. As Jehovah's organization continues to grow, more brothers are needed to care for practical congregational tasks. Thank you for helping younger brothers grow in their relationship with Jehovah. Are there baptized brothers in your congregation who are in their early teens or younger? They are exemplary in their personal study habits. Do they regularly comment at meetings and share in field ministry? If so, give them assignments that are appropriate to their age and circumstances. In this way, these young brothers can be tested as fitness. And by the time they're in their late teens, they can likely qualify to be a ministerial servant. Okay, so you heard that part of it. So they want to really give all the little brothers, all the little teeny boppers, a chance to reach out for being a ministerial servant and eventually become an elder. But now we have, listen to this, the governing body is pleased to inform that exemplary unmale baptized publishers may be used to care for some congregation tasks that are appropriate for their age and circumstances. For example, a male publisher in his early teens or younger may be used to handle microphones and operate the sound and video equipment if permission has been granted by his parent or guardian. So it shows here, this is just the announcement I read a month ago here on the 6 screens. So if you're a young brother reaching out, they want to use you, they need you. Now, notice this, paragraph 3 of the announcements. If sisters are currently being used to care for some of these practical tasks, please assign exemplary brothers, baptized or unbaptized, to care for the work. So they threw the sisters here under the bus. No, if sisters were being used for this, get rid of them. Don't use them. And then it says, if there are not enough brothers, please contact the circuit overseer for directions before using sisters. Okay, so that brings me back to this. So now in the Tampa area for this international convention that's coming up next weekend, they don't have enough brothers that are reaching out. So now they're saying that they'll take sisters to be attendants. How insulting is that to the sisters? So, in that letter I just read you a month ago, they said that if you young boys could run mics and handle the audio visual aspects of what's going on behind the curtains, and they would use these people rather than an adult woman. Now the tables have turned. They don't have enough brothers to do the job. So they're begging women. They're begging the sisters to pitch in. Can you believe that? I mean, this is nut stuff. This is nutty stuff, friends. And I have to tell you, the Watchtower, I mean, how can they're speaking out of both sides of their tongue. How can they, 1 month say, no, we're not going to use the sisters anymore. And then for this international convention that's taking place in Tampa, Florida, there's not enough brothers. So, we'll use sisters now. I'll tell you what, if I was a sister, I'd be a little outraged with this. I'd say, come on, you guys. You treat me like a slave. You treat me like a second-class citizen. Seriously. So I'm just thinking here that something is not right in Jehovah's Witness land. Let's take another look here. So I'm just going to talk for a second here about the parking at the convention. Now, I did mention earlier, there's 4,000 parking spots at this Amalie Convention Center in Tampa, Florida. Now, they want $25 a day, and that would be, $25 a day. That would be that would be $75 for the week, for the 3 days the witnesses are going to the convention. So if you run that all out, I mean, just $25 a day at 4,000 parking spaces, that's going to give you $100,000 a day in revenue. That's what the Watchtower can take in just in parking. That doesn't even mention what they get in regular contributions. These assemblies, I've said it before, they're nothing but fundraisers. They're a way for the Watchtower organization to make a boatload of money. It's unbelievable. So anyways, yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Stefan.
Just had a quick question.
Yeah.
Is the parking actually free? In other words, did Watchtower, when they negotiated the use of that facility, is the parking included for free? Or are they actually being charged for parking?
Well, the witnesses are being charged for parking, and the ones who are collecting the money is the Watchtower. Now, I don't know. I know that there was once a scandal out in Washington State at the Tacoma Dome. I do know that as a fact, that the Watchtower told the Tacoma Dome that they would have a convention there, but they said the witnesses can't afford the parking. So, rather than the city collect parking money, could you eliminate that so we can get more witnesses to come without paying parking? Well, the city agreed. And what do you think the Watchtower did? They charged the witnesses for coming. It was a scandal, is what it was. They charged the witnesses for coming, and they pocketed the money. Now, whether that's happening here Whether that's happening here in Tampa or not, I don't know. But I think they might have, said a similar thing because usually, parking for events is costly. So they might have told, I don't have the information here in front of me, but all I know is the Watchtower is collecting the money, $25 a day to park. Now, Stefan, I mean, you've been going for conventions for a long time. Would you pay the Would you pay the $25 to park a day?
Well, if I was a fully indoctrinated witness, I'm sure I would pay it. I'd be complaining about it, and it'd probably be carpooling just for that reason. I mean, you have a lot of people that's a hit. That's a hit in your budget just to go and quote unquote worship God. So yeah, I would have done it. I would have been complaining, and I would have probably carpooled just trying to save some money. So I suspect a lot of people are going to do it, but I also suspect a lot of people are going to be very put off by that.
Well, that's another thing I found out, Stefan. Well, what they're doing is they're asking people in the congregations that maybe they could go out and rent a van on their own dime and carpool and bring a bunch of witnesses to the convention center. So they're really adding a lot of burden to the Jehovah's Witness people there in Tampa area. Yeah, and a lot of, I mean, there's no question about it that it's going to cost the witnesses a lot of money to go to the convention. Now, I don't know how far out of Tampa Bay the people are going to be coming in, but I could have just gone home at night. But some people, I don't know how far it's going to reach out, but if it reaches out, a couple 100 miles, people are going to have to stay at a hotel. And I checked out the hotel prices. I checked it online. The hotel price, the average price for a cheap hotel. I mean, I'm not talking about, the Hilton or the Sheraton or the Marriott. I'm talking about Motel 6. Motel 6 is probably charging you, $150 a night. So, there's a minimum of $400 if you're going to stay for 3 days. This is a burden. This is a financial burden, Stefan, to the Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, these guys, it's like they are like the Jehovah's Witness organization. They're like modern day Pharisees. They're putting heavy burdens on the followers. I know you'll agree with that. I know you will. Yeah.
I agree, but I guess my original question is, and I want to make sure I understand you. What I'm asking is, when Watchtower negotiated the use of that facility, was the parking included for free, or were they actually required to pay for parking?
That I don't know. All I know.
That's my point. My point is, what if that parking was included for free, and yet Watchtower is still charging the unsuspecting witnesses $25 a day? Because if we find out that that's the case, we need to go down there with a big sign and say, Watchtower, why are you charging your own people for parking when it was free? And let these witnesses know that they're being scammed.
Well, it's something that I would consider if I was still living down there and had to pay $25. I mean, really, I was trying to raise 5 children at the time, and $25 a day would have been a lot of money. I would have paid it, but I would think, I can remember going to Watchtower convention, but of course now we're 20 years later here, but I can remember going to Watchtower conventions and paying $5, $6. It was okay. I didn't make a big deal out of it, but $25, that's a good chunk of change, Stefan,
It is. Yep. Thanks, Rick.
Well, thank you, Stefan. Yeah, I wish I had the answer for you. Maybe it'll all come out in the wash. I don't know. But anyways, I think did someone else want to say something? You on with us? Okay, guess not. But anyways, what we have is, I hope you've been seeing it. I've been seeing it. And, when you have an international convention of Jehovah's Witnesses, well, what they do is they all come together before the convention, and they have a talent show. Did you know that? I mean, you've seen some of this online, I think. But what they do is they have all these delegates coming in from all these different countries from all around the world, and they have a big talent show. So they're going to have a big talent show, and that big talent show is going to be at Plant City Assembly Hall. Now, many of you who listen to this program have been to the Plant City King Assembly Hall. I've been there. That's where I used to go. But what they do right now, Ken, I'm going to mute you for now, and I'm going to bring you on, Ken. Just hold on 1 second. I'm going to mute you, Ken, just so that we don't have static coming on the line. So the Plant City Kingdom Hall, Assembly Hall, I should say, that is, well, right now what they're doing is they're rehearsing. Yeah, they're rehearsing for a big extravaganza. They're putting up all kinds of props. They're rehearsing singing, and a big play goes on. It's really a spectacle, and they do this for all the delegates coming in from all around the world. Now, I'm not picking on the fact that the Watchtower wants to be very accommodating to the delegates and be nice. But, to have a big extravaganza and a big talent show, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. Because when I was a witness, our congregation had a talent show and they shut us down. No, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not what Jehovah wants. But boom, 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 boom. So now we have a big gathering. Now, the International Convention in Tampa at the Emily Convention Center is going to take place next weekend, Labor Day weekend. So this week, they're going to have this. They're already rehearsing as we speak. They're setting up props. They're rehearsing for this big production that the Watchtower is going to put forth for the international delegates. It's going to be like a mega event. Hundreds of witnesses have been working for months at the Plant City Assembly Hall, building stages and outside sets. This is a big thing. The witnesses go all out. Now, they will have 4 nights of shows. Now, get this. Now, just stop and listen. I want you just to listen to what I have to say here. So they're going to have 4 nights of shows, and tickets will be given out to the congregations. Now, the body of elders will decide who gets the tickets, because there's only going to be 1 ticket for every 3 to 4 publishers. Now get this. This is what's very disturbing. You would think the Watchtower would put a show on. Oh, with Jehovah's Witnesses, we can come for free. Oh, how nice it would be. I hope the elders pick me to go. No, they're not. They're really not doing it. If you were given, well, let me put it this way to you. If you were given a ticket to go to this pre-convention show that's going to entertain the delegates coming from around the world, if you were giving a ticket, you also told they were suggested $35 to cover the cost of audio video equipment that has been shipped from Philadelphia. So, there you have it. So you have tremendous amounts of money being grabbed, scammed, stolen. I don't know if I can use the word stolen, but at least being taken from these poor witnesses, and only 1 in 4, the elders will decide who can go to this extravaganza at the Plant City Assembly Hall. The whole thing is about money. Now, I'm going to play you something. I want you to see it. I'm going to play you something here. I think you'll find very, very interesting. And I'm going to put it on here. This is an event. This is an international event. I mean, this was taken at an assembly hall when the international delegates came in. I want you to see this. This isn't this event. This is the prior event. But I want you to see what they do. They really go all out here to really make it possible so that it's something to really see. Now, let me just make sure I got this. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to share it right now. I want you to see it. Listening closely. This is one of these events I've been talking about. This is the extravaganza. This is what they do. It's a big play. And some of it seems good. I mean, it's well rehearsed. But you listen and you tell me what you think. Let's share it right now. Let me just do this. I just want to make this a little larger here on the screen. So let's do that. And then we can share. Can we? Okay. All right. Well, hold on 1 second. I got to go back. Sometimes doing some of this stuff gets a little bit tricky, but let me go back and see what we can do here to make this. I want to share this. I'm going to present. Hold on 1 second. Share screen. Okay. Let's get this right here. Let's do it. Let's share it right now. Right. I want you to see it. I think you'll enjoy it. Let's play it. Here it goes. Listen to it.
Who's coming with me?
Well, I think you got the point. I think you can see what's going on. I hope you saw some of that. I'm not sure if you did or not, but that's what they do. That's what they do at the international conventions pre-show, they call it. I'm not sure exactly what they do call it, but it's like a pre-show before they have the conventions. It's something else, but that's what they do. All right, so yeah, we had a little snafu there with a couple of videos coming on, but you got the idea. You got the idea what was going on. They do these programs. All right, what do you think? Come on, you're on with us. Go ahead. We got 630. What do you have to say?
Hey, Rick. How you doing there, Rick? It's Mark.
Yes, Mark. Doing
Tapp.
good. Doing good.
How are you?
Yeah, doing good, Mark.
Good.
Yeah.
Good to hear, sir. I was good. I'm glad you're doing very well in every good and positive way, and hope Sue is doing very well in every good and positive way, too. But yes, sir, yeah, want to call and say hello. Yeah, I just tuned in, but sounds like you got a really good show going for tonight, and that's great. And I did see, your footage, or a good share of it from last week, what you did in covering on the Jehovah's Witnesses. I watched it on, on the video on Facebook. That was really good. And I'm glad to hear about your big upcoming convention next year that I'm looking forward to, and I hope it's very successful. But yeah, I hope I want to say hello to all the XJWs out there, and hope they're doing very well in every good way. And let you know, Rick, you got a real successful show going for you, and it's getting bigger and better, like almost all the time. You're doing really good, Rick. Got to give you, more power to you, and God bless you in every way. You're doing really good. You're reaching out to people. You're helping a lot of people. The people that help assistance they need. This is great, man, and I'm so glad you came up with this new show, with this show, I should say, the 6 Screens of the Watchtower. You've done very well, and just about almost 20 years, and still going strong. So, hey, can't argue that, man. You're doing one hell of a great job, and thank you so very much, Rick, for being of good help and assistance to all of us, including me and everyone.
Well,
and, yeah,
I appreciate that, Mark.
Great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Mark. Keep up the good work. Keep cranking away at it. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing the best I can too, Rick. And and just keep on going. And in the future, I don't know what your plans are, but if you ever have room for me in the future, get back on your show again. That'd be great. But just let me know. Let me know if it's at all possible.
All right. Well, thank you, Mark. Thank you. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Mike. All right, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Rick.
All
Take
right.
care. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's Mark out of Chicago. Well, anyways, I'm sorry some of that clip didn't play. When you're doing live broadcasts, there's always something that pops up. But anyways, what that was showing for those that were listening in and trying to find out, well, that was these are like little plays that the witnesses they rehearse for really a good part of a year when they're going to have an international convention, and the witnesses will rehearse like crazy to perform for the delegates. So that's what it was. You probably heard a good part of it or saw a small part of it, but that's what it was all about. Well, anyways, you're on JW World News. My name's Rick Farron, and we're glad you're with us. Friends, I have to tell you, we are seeing unbelievable things happening in the Watchtower. I mean, you'll have to agree with me, right? It's crazy. You know, we're not looking through rose-colored glasses here. We're seeing things that are really making a difference in getting people out of the Watchtower. And when I see, let's go. We're going to go to Ken before we go to the next news story. Ken, what would you like to say, Ken?
Oh, yeah. Hello, Mr. Farron. Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, I've been listening to this convention business for with a lot of interest and all that. Like most religions, when they have a convention or a revival meeting or everything like that, they got everything organized. You know, for the young people, for the ladies, for the older people, for the men, for the women, put it that way. But now we have, go to the Watchtower Society convention here, and first of all, they want a bunch of volunteers because they don't have enough men and all that, and so they get a bunch of women together. And then they get finally some men start coming in together, and then they turn around and they say, well, we don't need the ladies and all that. That doesn't make any sense, because if you have a religious meeting and everything like that, it should be that you treat everybody equally and not, you know, show bias and partiality like they're doing and all that. So it just doesn't make any sense, but I guess what does make sense in the Watchtower Society?
Well, Ken, as we always say here, you know, you can't make sense out of nonsense. It's nonsense, Ken. Thank you, Ken. Always good to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you. We'll keep listening.
All right. Thank you, Ken. All right. Well, you know, I have to tell you that for 140 years, the Watchtower has been talking about Armageddon coming. Armageddon is imminent. I mean, how long can you do that? Armageddon's right around the corner. We hear it all. Stephen Lett, we're in the final days of the final days. We heard all of this. How much more can the witnesses believe this? For 140 years, numerous false states, and they still believe. The Jehovah's Witness people still believe that Armageddon is imminent. They have no shame in constantly suggesting this. It doesn't seem to resonate. Are we telling the truth here? It doesn't seem to bother them. So what I'm thinking here, I went back, I looked at different articles that have been written in the Watchtower, and I can tell you without a question of a doubt, some of these articles that I reviewed is enough to really call them a false prophet. I believe that everybody listening to this program tonight will agree with me. You know, there's been many articles. Let's just take the Awake of 1961. Let's just take that February 22nd, page 5 through 8. Now they're talking about Armageddon. They're saying it will come right on schedule. This is back in 1961, friends. Some of you guys listening to this program were not even born in 1961. So it said back then that Armageddon is going to come right on schedule as the wars, food shortages, earthquakes, and other events are foretold in the Bible. This generation will see fulfillment. So there it is, 61. They're saying this generation will see fulfillment. But if you want to get even more specific, let's talk about this. In fact, let's go to, the Apostle Paul was spearheading the Christian missionary activity, and he was laying a foundation for the work that would be completed in the 20th century. So what they're saying here is Armageddon would be completed. It would come about in the 20th century. Well, friends, the 20th century, that was 25 years ago. The 20th century ended December 31st, 1999. But here we have in 1989, they're saying the Apostle Paul, he was saying quite clearly that the foundation, that is the bringing about of the kingdom of God, the annihilation of bad humans on planet Earth by Armageddon, that would be completed by the 20th century. Well, we're a long way. We're 25 years since the 20th century. Shame on the Watchtower. I mean, there's so many incidents that one could come up with. I don't know. I counted 4 different incidents here that they were talking about by the 20th century, Armageddon would be here. Well, it's not here. And I have to say that it's been a scam. It's a real scam. And the Watchtower has been pulling this off for many years. And, you know, maybe you guys are thinking out there, how is it that the witnesses believe this? I mean, I often think about this. How is it the witnesses, after so many years of hearing this, 140 years, how is it they still can believe that, well, it's coming, it's right around the corner, oh, Armageddon will be here? The Watchtower has misled so many people, and they're continuing to do it. And, you know, it reminds me, you know, scams. We hear a lot about scams. And maybe you get, you know, reports from your bank. Maybe you get reports from Google that people are trying to scam you. Well, I mean, what about the Nigerian prince? How many people have got emails from the Nigerian prince? You know, send me some money. You know, do this. Go and get a, you know, go to your bank and get me a gift card. Go to, you know, Google. Go and order me from your bank a gift card. All of this stuff, and send it to me. And it's just a small amount. And then I'll send you, you know, $100,000. I'll give you a big payment in the mail. How many people still fall for that? For decades, this digital hustler, we call him the Nigerian scammer. He has been, well, there's numerous ones, but they scam people, and people fall for this day in, day out. It's the same thing with the Watchtower. People fall for this scam day in, day out. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as the Nigerian scammers have pulled off. The Watchtower is doing the same thing. And witnesses think that, oh my goodness, Jehovah God, he's backing them. He's helping them. So, you know, we have to keep following them. But, you know, as long as there are people, people will fall for scams. And even though it's crazy to most of us listening in, how do they do it? They do it. That's why the Watchtower, even to this day, gets away with it, because there's vulnerable, naive people that follow their stupid scams. Well, anyways, we've got Dick Borgie and Constance. They're coming up here shortly. But before we bring them on, they got about 10 minutes. I say we talk about, nobody mentioned the duck tonight. Now, nobody mentioned any secret words that we were looking for. We have a number of secret words. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got about 8 different secret words, and nobody really mentioned the secret words tonight. But what we'll do is we'll give you guys a chance to win some prizes. That's what we do here at the close of every program. Give you a chance to win some prizes. Now, what we do, I want you all to add up your points. When you answer the questions, you'll get a point. And, you know, we have 3 already right now that are in the lead. Nicole has about 3 points. Now, when you get 5 points, I'm going to send you a really good gift. When someone hits 12 points, they're going to get $100 in cash, okay? So I want you to listen in. I want you to be able to answer the questions that we're going to ask tonight. Now, what we do is we play the Jeopardy music first. When the music stops, you answer the question. Now, a lot of these words that we use, none of them were mentioned tonight. I don't believe one was mentioned tonight. So we'll play the Jeopardy music. When the Jeopardy music stops, I want you to come on and tell me what the answer is. And I want you to go on the honor system. Mark down on a piece of paper every answer you get a point. When you get up to 5 points, you're going to get a gift. When you get up to 12 points, you're going to get $100. Okay. So bear that in mind. So let's see if we can't get the first question out here. Just give me a second to get this pumped up. All right, everyone get their telephones ready. And now don't answer. If you answer before the music stops, you're disqualified. So, but we have a lot of good gifts. We got the Millions Now Living book. We got this Don Cameron book here. You might want this book here, Captives of a Concept. We've got so many other books. We got magnets. We got T-shirts. We got hats. I got gift cards for McDonald's. But save your points up. Win $100. Get 12 points and win $100. Everybody can use $100, right? All right, so let's do this. All right, so let's get into the duck questions here for tonight. All right, the first one is, we all went out in service, and many liked it, many didn't like it, but many liked a certain part of the service that they found kind of entertaining, where they would travel. Listen to the song. We'll play the music. Okay. So, go ahead.
McDonald's.
No. Many went out in service. They didn't like the normal service, but they did like this because they got to get away. They got to go like on a vacation.
Preaching where the need was greater.
What did they call that?
The need was greater.
How about territory? When you would pick a territory, you would get a territory locally. But when you went in this territory, it wasn't in your territory. It was called
unassigned territory.
unassigned territory. Who got that?
Nadine.
Nadine, mark it down. Now stay on the honor system, okay? Mark that.
Okay, I have 2 points now.
Okay, got 2 points. Well, keep you. I want people.
I want to get to 12.
All right. Well, I'd love to give you the $100, Nadine. So what I want
it.
Okay. So what I want you all to do now is put your thinking caps on. Nadine got that one. No one said these tonight, but let's go with this one. Well, we all love the book study, but many of us never could take the role of the.
The reader or the conductor?
I'm sorry, who was that?
Nadine.
Nadine, what did you say?
I said the reader first and then the conductor, reader.
You got a Canadian. Give yourself another point. You're getting close.
Okay.
Okay,
cool.
You're doing good, Nadine. You're doing very, very good. All right.
Okay.
All right. So no one came up with this one either. So let's go with this. But don't answer until the music stops. I'll give you the question. And the question is, in the congregations, many brothers serve different jobs, serve certain positions. And, there was the account servant, there was the ministry school teacher. But this one really kind of you had to really be on the ball. You had to take good notes, and you had to be able to express to the body what exactly was taking place in the congregation. What do we call him? What
the school servant?
The Kobe. Service conductor. The Kobe.
No.
The secretary.
We got. Who was that secretary? Was that you, Zach?
That was Zachary.
Well, Zach, give yourself.
Oh, Zach, that's cheating.
You gotta.
That's cheating, Zach.
Zach,
hey, Zach, if you win, Zach, you're gonna have to donate your $100 to those.
I'm going for $100
parking. You have to donate it so the witnesses can pay for parking.
You got it, Zach. Well, very good, Zach. I'm glad you're playing the game. So you got that one right. All right, now don't answer until we stop the music. All right, now we all love going to the assemblies and conventions. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't know if I loved it. But the food wasn't too bad. Breakfast would have the Sara Lee, and lunch would have sometimes they have burritos. Sometimes it'd have they'd have different things we could have at lunch. But I'm thinking of one of the things that I never really liked because I don't like frozen meat. I want you to tell me, what am I talking about? All right, what am I talking about?
Hamburgers.
What?
Hamburgers.
No, there were hamburgers, but I'm not thinking of hamburgers. Frozen.
Was it the lunch meat? The frozen lunch meat?
Well, what did they call it, Nadine? What did they call that?
Spam. I don't know.
So what did they?
Frozen. Oh well.
I didn't like
lunch meat for
I
sandwiches.
didn't like eating it, but I mean, it's still a popular sandwich today. But I'm just gonna.
A submarine
Well,
sandwich.
let me give you an idea here. Some areas of the country call them submarines. Some
Heroes.
I'm sorry, Gyros.
Heroes.
Heroes. Some parts of the country call them heroes, but the Watchtower specifically called them.
A deli sandwich?
No, I'll give you a clue. It begins with an H.
A hoagie.
Hoagie sandwiches.
I think Zach.
I was first.
Zach.
Yeah.
I could get at least a half a point.
Well, I think that
I'm going for the big bucks.
Zach is pulling out here. So Zachy, it was hoagies. You're absolutely right. All right. So let's see what else we got here. All right, let's ask another question. Like I say, don't answer until the music stops. The next question would be, all right. Well, anyways, when I was a young man and I was a witness, not baptized, my girlfriend at the time, she wasn't baptized either, but she went to the Baltimore Memorial Convention Center, Baltimore Convention. It was at Memorial Stadium. And she came home and she said, Rick, your sister and I are going to do this work in India. What work did they want to do?
Unassigned territory?
Oh, somebody said it. Yeah, he said it first.
Missionary.
Yeah, I believe
I
that.
said it.
Yeah, I think the first person said missionaries, missionary work. Who said that?
I think it was me, 864.
861. Put it down. You have to be on the honor system here. Okay, honor system, missionary work. Yeah.
Hey, what area code got the hoagie sandwich?
Who got the hoagie sandwich?
I got it. It doesn't
Zach.
matter the area code. It was Zachary. Thank you.
Okay.
I know those tricks.
All right. So what I want you guys to do now, keep this, keep it on the honor system. And the first one that gets 12, I'm kind of doing it, but it's kind of hard here being involved with myself. But keep it on the honor system. First one that gets 12 points gets $100. But also when you get 5 points, we get some other prizes we'll give you. Okay. So bear that in mind. Okay. Nadine, you're up to, what are you up to? 3, Nadine?
Yeah, just 3.
All right, that's okay. You get 5. We get some gifts, but you might want to hold on. I mean, I'd take the $100.
I am.
I would like to.
I'm going to go for the 12. I'm going to go for the big money.
All right, good. Go for the big money. That's good. No, that's
That's right.
Capital.
All right. So let's go here. All right, let's do another one here. Let's do this one right here. All right. Set. Okay, let's go with this. Okay, we've got one more here to do. All right. I can remember being in the Watchtower for 50 years of my life. And there were certain positions that I held. At one time, I was a ministry school teacher. At another time, I was a book study conductor. At another time, I really loved dealing with the brothers and sisters behind the counter.
Literature servant.
Literature servant was the answer. Was that you, Stefan?
That was.
I think Stefan's got it. Stefan, give yourself a point.
Okay. Finally, I beat the great Zachary. Finally.
No,
Well,
I honestly think I said it at the same time, but no, go ahead.
well, I tried.
No,
It's very hard. It's very.
Everybody did say it at once, so.
6'4" said it too because he was one of the attendants, the literature servant.
Well, it's very hard to, I got Facebook.
That was hard, yeah.
I got YouTube. I'm listening on the radio network. It's very hard for me to really. So we have to go on the honor system, and then that's a good thing. So mark those points down. The first one that gets to 12 gets $100. I mean, that'll be wonderful. Plus, I get some really good gift certificates. Do you like donuts? You like Dunkin' Donuts? You like Starbucks? I got some really good certificates. So let those points add up. All right. So I think we have to end it there. We got to go to Dick Borgie and Constance Borgie. Well, they are out there in South Carolina, actually. And they got a program, D&C, that's coming up next right here on the Six Queens Tele-Network. But just a couple of announcements. We do have our program tomorrow, friends. On Sunday, we have our programming. But on Sunday, it takes on a different feeling. We get into the scriptures. Now, you notice on Saturday night, we don't talk about the scriptures. We don't talk about the Bible. But on Sunday, we get into theological teachings. We get into the false teachings of the Watchtower. All of that. We have a number of programs that come on Sunday. So beginning tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we have a program, Knowing God After Leaving the Watchtower. We have 2 Christian apologists that come on. They do a wonderful job. So if you'd like to learn more about the theology that was misrepresented in the Watchtower, join us on Sunday. And then at 2 o'clock, we have a program that Anne Marie out of California, she's a former Jehovah's Witness, and she does a program called Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses Share Their Christian Testimony, not Christian testimony. Sometimes she does that, but most of the time it's just share your story of being in the Watchtower. And then also at 3 o'clock, we do our JW World News Sunday edition. And if you come in at 4 o'clock, you are going to hear a fascinating program. It's called The Christian Court. And, in the world of Christianity, there's a lot of questions that are asked that are peculiar. What would I do? Should I work at a gambling casino? What would I do? Should I work at an abortion clinic? I mean, some questions like that, the questions you're asking. So if you come in tomorrow, you're going to hear a lot of things that will really fascinate you. The Christian Court. It's a great program. It's our only program here on the 6 Screens. We have 14 programs running, and it's our only program that's crossing over. It's crossing over not only in the witness world, but it's crossing over into the Christian world. So why don't you join us tomorrow on the Christian Court? That's actually at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, if you really are interested in the Bible, and really you should be, if you left the Watchtower, and you went to very many meetings as I did, I mean, what were you going there for? Were you going there for a social club, or were you going there to learn about God? So if you were trying to learn about God, why don't you come and join us tomorrow, and you can ask Jay Hess maybe a question that you have concerning the Bible. I mean, everyone has to have a question. If you were a Watchtower person, one who was in the Watchtower for many years, obviously you must have some biblical questions. Well, Jay Hess can answer those questions for you. He at one time was associated with the writing department of the Watchtower. He's a knowledgeable man, and he'll answer the questions for you. So why don't you come in tomorrow, beginning at 1 o'clock? Just be with us. We're not going to jump down your throat. We're not going to totally preach to you, but I want you to come and be with us tomorrow, right here on the Six Screens Tele Network. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming in tonight. Also, if you like the program, like it. Just like it on Facebook, like it on YouTube. You know, I want you to do that because what that will do is get more and more people to listen in. They will listen in. They'll be able to see how twisted and how false and corrupt the Watchtower is. So the more people we get listening in, the better. So do that. Like us, subscribe to us, tell your friends about it. And I want to thank you all for being with us tonight. And I want you to keep standing tall, keep waving the flag of victory. And don't you ever give in, up, or out. And as we always say, the last one leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. We have a number of programs still coming up. Stay on this YouTube channel. Stay on the Facebook channel. Stay with us on our radio network. And we'll see you in the next program coming up. Dick and Constance, D&C, right here on the Six Screens Tele Network. All right, well, there you have it. Let's end the program right here, and lights will be out, as they say.